Hi everyone, welcome back in another video of PD Pinov. Yeah, that is me. Thank you so much for watching, and in today's video I'd like to explain to you what exactly Species-Dysphoria is. And a big thank you to my Patreon supporters Ferntief, Call Copier, Sana, Ruffled Griffon, RBA Therian, Wolfdenden, Luca, Kazu, and Kira. Patreon supporters get exclusive access to Patreon-only videos, Patreon-only blogs, early access, sneak peeks, work in progress, and community works. All Patreon money is from the community to the community, so thank you so much. If you're interested in the topic of this video, I'd also recommend you to watch the previous videos I made related to this topic, specifically my video about the relation between Therian trophy and gender, as well as my video on trans species, links in the description. Okay, Species-Dysphoria. To explain to you what this exactly is, we first have to discover what the word dysphoria even means. Dysphoria is defined as a general dissatisfaction or uneasiness with something, anything. This can be compared to the emotions of happiness and sadness. Like you can be happy because of anything or sad because of anything, you can experience dysphoria because of pretty much anything. Unlike what most people think, dysphoria is not only defined as gender dysphoria. There are plenty of other forms of dysphoria, such as general dysphoria, which is the uneasiness and unhappiness with life, general dysphoria, which is with one's gender, rejection sensitive dysphoria, tardive dysphoria, post-coital dysphoria, premenstrual dysphoria, body dysphoria, and social dysphoria. And there are plenty of others, but those are just a few to show you that dysphoria is way beyond the LGBT plus community. Most often when we Therians or even non-Therians try to speak about Species-Dysphoria, we get the argument thrown at us that we are trying to ridicule transgender people or are trying to copy gender dysphoria. However, this doesn't make any sense, because in that case, body dysphoria or premenstrual dysphoria or social dysphoria, for example, are like us ridiculing the transgender people or trying to copy gender dysphoria. Now, I'm a Therian who experiences Species-Dysphoria to some extent, but I'm also a transgender, female to male, who experiences gender dysphoria to some extent. And I can say that those are two very different forms of dysphoria, even though their essence, dysphoria, is about the same, of course. They are for me not connected at all, and they're certainly not ridiculing one or the other. So now you know what dysphoria in general means, we could say that Species-Dysphoria is uneasiness or unhappiness or dissatisfaction and everything alike with one's species or the species they are born as or are described as. This trait is seen a lot within Therians. I would say over 80% of Therians probably experience this to some extent or has experienced it at some point or another in their life. For some Therians it is life-changing, to the point they might even consider suicide because of it. For other Therians like me, it's there, but it's nothing major, or it might have been worse in their teenage years and kind of faded away as they became an adult and saw the pros of a human life compared to an animal life. However, while most people who experience dysphoria are likely Therians, not all of them are Therians. In fact, you could find a few forums online, on by example therapist forums, that have people on there that are not Therian, who even specifically state they are not Therian, but still experience Species-Dysphoria. In fact, even professionals, like therapists, have stated they want to make this an official recognized form of dysphoria, because it's so present in the modern society. However, if you are interested in history, you may also know that all the tribes and in the past and everything, there are very few humans who express it wanting to be an animal, having issues with being human and everything like, so maybe they might also have experienced Species-Dysphoria. In fact, there's a very old Wikipedia page, which is sadly taken down, but can still be found back, that talks about Species-Dysphoria. I will link it in the description. It also talks, or uses to talk, about professionals wanting to recognize a term or something official as body and gender dysphoria, for example. And talked about something species disorder, which was something they also wanted to legitimize because some people had extreme issues with their species, more than, for example, Therians have. Another argument we get thrown at us against Species-Dysphoria, or another thing some people wonder about, is Species-Dysphoria connected to trans species? Now, if you're confused, I have a video in the description that talks all about trans species, what it is, what it isn't, in what way it is connected to the Therian community, why Therians aren't trans species in most cases, and everything alike. In short, trans species indicates someone who is beyond, across, or different than their species, in other words, human. Trans species are usually not really Therians, even though some Therians consider themselves trans species. Trans species is more related to heavy body modification, like the people putting whiskers in their face or having scales, horns, and completely adjusting their body to be something that isn't recognized as human anymore. In general, trans species, however, wasn't created as a term for this definition. It wasn't created related to people who didn't feel they fitted their species. Trans species comes from the term transspecies psychology. Yeah, I can pronounce psychology by the way. This is a field in psychology that states and researches that humans and non-human animals share commonalities in cognition and emotions. Now, for example, when I looked into it a bit more, I found back a research related to elephants and humans, more specifically how elephants have human-like traumas and all the way around and everything alike. It searches for the line between animal and human in what way the two cross each other. And this is where eventually the word trans species as human being probably came from. However, in my entire research, I couldn't find like any link between trans species and Species-Dysphoria. In fact, the use of Species-Dysphoria could only be found back around when the Therian community started and not in any way related to trans species persons. So likely it wasn't started in relation with trans species. It's something of its own. This however doesn't mean that those who consider themselves trans species, like the dragon lady, lizard guy or tiger man, may not experience Species-Dysphoria. Okay, so to round it up a bit, dysphoria in general means a dissatisfaction or uneasiness or anything like with something and can be because of anything. Dysphoria reaches way beyond LGBT plus communities and is not only related to gender dysphoria. Species-Dysphoria is dysphoria, uneasiness and unhappiness with one species that they were born as, are described as, feel they are, and everything alike. Most Therians, in my guess over 80%, do experience Species-Dysphoria to an extreme extent or even barely. And Species-Dysphoria is not connected to trans species, or at least not absolutely and not solely. I also hold a research myself about dysphoria, how you experience it, why you experience it, to what extent. So please find the link to the survey in the description down below and fill it out. You may also want to subscribe, as I will link the research results later on my channel. Don't be afraid to comment down below or ask any questions, and thank you so much for watching. I hope this cleared up any of your questions you may have had. Thank you so much. WOOF PD.
And I'm very happy with the Candlewood pack t-shirt of 2020, as well as I was with the 2019 and 2018 ones, of course. I'll be wearing those until it has holes in them, like usual.